A Nashville restaurant owned by MAGA fan and musician, question mark on the musician part, Kid Rock, has temporarily closed down over the weekend. Well, not because of, tainted pork sliders or anything like that. As far as I know, the food is fine. I mean, could you imagine, though, if that's what happened? I mean, and by the way, if you want to see what happens, just ask people in Colorado about Lauren Boebert's now shuttered restaurant, where this actually happened. No. The Nashville scene has reported that Kid Rock's big-ass Honky Tonk rock and roll steakhouse in Tennessee has closed down for the weekend after their undocumented employees refused to show up on Saturday. Oops. Of course. Of course they did.
Whoopsie.
Oh, yes. Hire undocumented, everybody, because it's cheaper for us. But oops. Oh, turns out we got to shut down because the guy that I supported, the president I supported, is deporting everybody. Oops. I mean, who couldn't see that one coming? Not only that, but those employees that did show up, by the way, were told that any undocumented workers should leave to avoid being caught by ICE. Yes, that's right. They know that they're hiring undocumented workers against the law, but do it anyway because they can underpay them and exploit them, okay, and get them to do jobs that Americans generally won't do, okay, maybe because it's unsafe or they don't feel like they're getting paid enough for it, whatever. They're hiring undocumented immigrants, and then, oops, ICE shows up, and they're like, go home. We're going to have to shut down for the weekend. Yeah, that's what happened. ICE agents went through Nashville on Saturday evening, stopping drivers with the help of Tennessee Highway Patrol. They actually arrested about 196 people during that operation. How many CEOs were nabbed for hiring undocumented? How many? Oh, right. None. Yeah, because we don't do that. They never go after the people who hire undocumented immigrants to exploit them. No, they just go after the exploited themselves, of course. Now, according to an anonymous employee at one of the three establishments that had been closed, the diner and Honky Tonk Central, both owned by Stephen Smith, they told the Nashville scene that the restaurant was, quote, already understaffed on Saturday because of the ICE raids. So, yes, they were already chronically understaffed. Kind of shows you how important undocumented labor is to the service industry. I mean, they added that the manager came back and told anyone without legal status to go home around 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, despite it being the busiest service day of the week, following major events happening in Nashville. It was crazy busy, they said, but there was no one in the kitchen to cook the food. You know, it is really funny how this all ties into the minimum wage debate. And also, nobody wants to work, right? So they tell the people who cannot afford to live on minimum wage plus tips, all right? Oh, just stop complaining. Go get a better job. All right, so they do. But what happens? Well, nobody's there to fill those other jobs, right? Nobody's there to cook the food. So the same people, they will bitch about it. Okay. So, all right, well, the restaurant, they can't find people to work, so they hire undocumented workers, right? And then, of course, you got people that complain about, these undocumented workers, these illegal aliens are stealing the jobs. And so those workers, when they get arrested or threatened to the point of where they decide, if I show up to work, I'm worried that I'm going to get deported to or sent to a freaking concentration camp in El Salvador, I'm not going to show up to work. I'm not going to risk it. And when that happens, nobody's there to cook the food. And the same people who complain get mad that nobody's there to make the food. What did you think was going to happen? Again, there is a good reason that many American workers are not clamoring to take those service jobs. They pay like shit. And you get treated by the customers like shit. And really, the sad truth is that the only people that are really willing to be able to endure that are the same ones that you want kicked out of the country for being illegal. Kid Rock, by the way, is one of those people. Okay, this guy's a staunch Trump backer. We know that. And of course, turns out his restaurant pretty much only operates because of undocumented labor. Shocker. Just like Mar-a-Lago does. All these people, they are massive, massive hypocrites on this issue. Not that they care. They obviously don't. Okay? And look, ICE has been targeting people with no criminal backgrounds. The people that are working. They're working in the restaurants. They're working in the service industry. They're working at the construction, site. They're doing all that stuff. They don't have big criminal backgrounds. In fact, less than half of those arrested in Nashville on Saturday have prior criminal convictions or even pending criminal charges, according to ICE's own data. What happened, guys? I thought you were going after the criminals. I thought you were going after the rapists, the murderers. Turns out, not so much. I'm not saying they haven't found anybody with a record, obviously. But come on. Come on. There are just statistically not that many criminal aliens in this country. No, the vast majority of people here that are without documentation, they are just here to work. They're just here to live. That's it. That's it. And they're doing a lot of the jobs that, again, Americans don't want to do. And honestly, a lot of them, I'm pretty sure a lot of them tried to do things legal way and then probably ran out of money because it takes years and years and years and lots of money to be able to become a citizen. Now, it can't be that expensive, right? Well, there is an initial, get this, citizenship fee that costs about $760. Now you might think, well, it's only $760. I mean, come on. If you're working at Kid Rock's crappy restaurant, odds are you ain't making a whole lot of money. You are probably making the minimum wage plus tip. We're talking about the tipped minimum wage, which is like $2 an hour. Okay, you ain't making the full $725. So odds are you're not going to be making a ton. All right, and being able to save up that $760 because that for a lot of people is a lot of out of reach, especially if you came here with very little, as is the case with a lot of migrants. So, look, there is a ton of exploitation of undocumented workers. And yes, that can drive down the wages for American workers. That is why, instead of kicking people out, we need to protect those workers and give them a pathway to citizenship. Have them be paid on par with American workers to stop them from being exploited. Especially since it seems to be very obvious here that these workers play a very important and huge role in our economy. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.